Hey everybody, this is Luke from InfoSec Luke, and in today's video we're going to be discussing the CISSP or CISSP exam. So before we dive into this video, I just wanted to put in a quick plug. The channel, InfoSec Luke, is just getting off the ground, so anytime you can like or comment or even throw me a subscribe, that would be greatly appreciated. Hoping that you're finding this content valuable and really want to keep it up for you guys, so thanks for that. Okay, back to the video. So for those of you who don't know, the CISSP or CISSP exam comes from an organization called ISC squared. It's recognized as one of the gold standard certifications that you can get to prove your knowledge and abilities in the field of information security. The DoD looks really heavily upon it, or favorably upon it, as well as civilian organizations. So let's go ahead and crack open ChatGPT. I've already prompted it with the question, what is the CISSP exam? You can see it's globally recognized certification administered by IC Squared, which stands for International Information System Security Certification Consortium. And it's a lengthy exam. It takes about 3 hours to complete, about 100 to 150 multiple choice questions, as well as some advanced innovative questions. You have to score at least a 700 out of 1,000. And the exam does come with a pretty hefty fee of $749 each time you sit for it. You do have to meet some requirements as far as experience before you're eligible to be a CISSP. It doesn't mean you can't take the exam without that 5 years of cumulative experience. You can take it and become what's called an associate of ISC squared. And then once you've accrued that experience, once you have met that requirement, you are then, after having passing the exam, eligible to be CISSP. And it does cover 8 domains, which you can see listed here. I'm not going to read them off. You can kind of see it on the screen, but it covers the breadth of what you should know for information security, ranging from security architecture to identity and access management. Even down at the bottom, you see software development security. So it does cover a pretty broad range of topics. So I thought a next interesting prompt we could do from ChatGPT here real quick is what is the job outlook for those with a CISSP compared to those who do not hold the cert? And again, take it with a grain of salt because this is AI, but let's see what it says. Okay, so right away you can see that information security analysts, the typical role for CISSP holders, so take that again with a grain of salt, are projected to grow 33% in the next decade. The global shortage in skilled cybersecurity professionals exceeds 3 million, making CISSP highly sought after. CISSP, this is where it gets more interesting, will actually qualify you for more senior and leadership roles, including security manager, architect, consultant, and CISO, while many roles explicitly require or prefer this certification. I know that's particularly true in the DoD. A lot of those higher level positions for GS employees and even military do strongly prefer CISSP certified individuals. You can see the salary range is quite high. Total compensation reaching up to 175 for managerial roles, with the North American average being just shy of 150. And, you do expect to see a net income boost when you're certified of typically 10 to 25% more. But salary increases of 50 to 100% are not uncommon. So the bottom line is that it is really useful for your career, not only just to help you get into those higher level management roles and to potentially earn more income, but because it demonstrates to those that you work with and those around you that you've passed a rigorous exam in information security. You've covered topics such as encryption, you've covered things such as identity and access management, as we talked about, the different authentication methods. You're going to know a good amount about the OSI model. You're going to know a lot about secure DevOps or DevSecOps, how to securely design software, as well as typical exploits. You're going to know a lot about a lot of things that are going to make you a lot better at your job. So next thing I want to transition into is kind of how I approached the exam. I took it back in, I think it was like 2021. So they may have done a refresh since then, but the tactics and strategies that I'm about to give you are still going to be useful, even with this current certification exam. So when I studied, I used a combination of video training, but I also picked up 2 textbooks. The one I would highly recommend is the All-in-One CISSP. That's published by McGraw-Hill. Very, very comprehensive. I think they're on their 9th edition. When I took the exam, they were on their 8th edition, so they've included all the new updates. The other thing that I picked up was the Certified Information Security Professional Official Study Guide, written by a guy named Mike Chappell. He's really big in the training industry for information security. Again, they're on their 9th edition, and when I picked mine up, they were only on their 7th edition, so they do refresh these quite a bit. Definitely recommend picking up the most recent version of those books. There's other options as well, and you can even buy practice tests in book format. But if you've watched any of my other videos, you know I'm a big fan of Udemy. And Udemy is just one of many different online video training platforms. There's also CBT Nuggets, there's Pluralsight, there's another one called Cybrary. But if you get onto any one of these sites and you just search for CISSP, you're going to find some really, really great training. This guy I highly recommend, Thor Peterson. Very, very clear instructor, delivered it very well. You can see he got a 4.6 with 21,000 reviews. And that's just on domain 1 and 2. Of course, with the 8 domains, there's multiple videos. If you have a subscription, an annual subscription, you'll get all of these videos included in that cost. I know you can also buy them as one-offs if you're not a subscriber, so you just kind of got to do the math and see what works for you. But practice exams, that's another big component when you're studying for something so broad and you want to see where you're at and kind of gauge your readiness to take the exam. There's a test engine through a company called Boson, Boson, and they offer a wide variety of certification practice exams, but of course this one, topic of this video, is the CISSP. It's a bank of 900 questions, and the great thing is it's not just questions, but they give you really, really good detailed information on why the answer you chose was correct versus why maybe the answer you chose was incorrect. And by reading through those detailed descriptions, you can really, really pick up a lot of the material that way. Of course, you never want to count out the free option of YouTube, and one that I would highly recommend to folks is this smaller channel with only about 47,000 subs called Destination Certification. They have these videos called mind maps. You can see a lot of them are for the CCSP, which I also have and I'll do a future video on, but the CISSP ones are really, really helpful. I think they put them out in
Hey, I'm Rob Witcher.
2023, and it's by a guy named Rob Witcher. Does a really great job of just kind of giving you, of course it's an ad, giving you the breakdown of the different domains and exactly what you're going to need to know. You can see things like cryptography, digital signatures, cryptanalysis, physical security, the OSI model, networking. Does a really good job of describing things like authentication, all that good stuff. So don't discount the free resources you have through YouTube as well. The next thing I want to touch on is just how long should you really allot for yourself to study for this cert, and that's going to depend on a couple of things. The first and foremost is how long have you been in the industry and how much of this is just kind of coming naturally to you as you're studying versus how much of it is kind of brand new for you. For me, I was pretty green in the industry. I had enough experience in the different domains to qualify for the exam, but I had a lot to learn. And so I gave myself about a year of study. And that might be too long for some people, but it might be just right for others. It really is something you kind of got to just gauge for yourself and go at your own speed. But I'd say a year is definitely ample time. You could cut that down to 6 months or even sooner if you're more experienced or you're just really, really good at picking up a lot of complex knowledge quickly. And then two other things I wanted to touch on before this video gets too long is one, when you sit for the exam, you're going to need a sponsor who's already CISSP certified by ISC squared, and they're basically vouching for you as an individual and for your meeting the 5-year experience requirement. And so you just find someone in your organization or someone that you know that already holds the cert and ask them, hey, can you sponsor me for the cert? Usually people have no problem doing that, especially if they know you pretty well. And that just ticks off one of the requirements to get the certification. The second thing I wanted to touch on is that once you hold this certification, as is the case with many others, you are going to need to do continuing education. And we can go real quick back to chat and see what are the continuing education requirements for the CISSP. They may have changed this. I'm not sure of the current requirement. Okay, it looks like 120 CPE credits every 3 years. So if you break that down to about 40 education units per year, then you'll be good to go. And you can submit that right through the ISC squared website. But they need to be in different groups. You can even, if you're just reading white papers or books, that can count for hours. Attending webinars or conferences or training, even volunteering, taking leadership, and even some soft skills stuff they throw in there. So it doesn't all have to be super heavy duty cyber related. But you just want to make sure that you're keeping up with that because you don't want to let the certification lapse. It's not one that you're going to want to take again and go through that whole process. And then I guess you do have to pay an annual maintenance fee. What is the annual fee for cert holders? And let's see. Okay, it's going to give me two responses here. See which one. They both say $135. So about $135 for your annual maintenance fee, and you do have to pay that yearly. So just make sure you budget that money aside. And again, not something you want to miss because you don't want your cert to lapse. So that concludes today's video on the CISSP. I hope you guys found it helpful, maybe picked up some things that you didn't know before, have a kind of a clearer idea of what your study plan could look like. If you like the video, please give it a like. Go ahead and comment down below. That really helps. Even subscribe if you feel like it, if you think there's value in this channel and the things we're putting out. And hope to see you in the next one. This is InfoSec Luke, signing out.